Isn't it a tragedy? Find me a objectively more beautiful state than California. I don't think it exists. I mean, there are beautiful parts of Montana. There are beautiful parts of Alaska and Hawaii, but all of those kind of have downsides. If you live in Orange County, outside of June gloom, there is not a lot of downside there. It is as beautiful and as pristine as it gets. My theory when it comes to California is how far can you push a people while the weather's really good? And the answer is you can actually push them really far. We always joke around, what is the importance of weather when it comes to lifestyle? It's actually a lot. Sunlight and weather plays a lot into the human psyche. It turns out that you could turn your state into a seismic hellhole. Taxpayer-funded abortions, gender reassignment surgery, illegals everywhere, critical race theory in the schools, terrible economy, high inflation, and people will still live there. Now, California does have a declining population. It does have people that are leaving for my home state of Arizona. However, it's remarkable the power that living in Santa Barbara has on some people, turning it into just a communist dystopian hellscape. I always joke around with producer Andrew. I said, so what is the breaking point? When they can medically kidnap your kids? And I actually see it from his perspective and Sonia Friend's perspective. When California is good, it's the best place on the planet. There's some moments where you say, what am I doing here? It cost me $95 to fill up my car with a tank of gas, and I just spent $700 at a local grocery store, and I can't afford rent. And then you're driving down Pacific Coast Highway at 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon with the windows down, and you say, I'll pay anything. Take my money. I don't care. And the wind is coming through, and you're listening to the radio, and you say, why doesn't everyone live here? And then you pull over at a stoplight, and then there's some bum defecating after he just shot up with heroin. And you have this incredible paradoxical contradiction. In Los Angeles, and literally in Southern California, you can surf, ski, and drive a quad in the desert all in one day. And in Los Angeles, you can also loot, shoot up with heroin, and get your gender reassigned in one day. It's amazing. Only in California is all of that possible. You can go and steal $900 worth of stuff at Walgreens. You can just go take a dump on the side of the street. And you can get taxpayer-funded benefits if you're from Nicaragua. It's amazing. Only in California is that possible. And I say this with a great deal of lament. I spend a ton of time in California. And every time I'm landing in California, Andrew would tell you this, and Mikey will tell you this. I say the same thing. I say, it is one of the great crimes against humanity that they ruined this slice of heaven. And I believe it. When you're landing into Orange County at John Wayne Airport, when you're landing into San Diego, when you're landing into Burbank or you're landing into LAX, and you just see the pristine nature of what God gave America, it goes to show how we human beings can mess up the pristine, the serenity that was once the untouched jewel of America. And now Gavin Newsom wants to be president. Look, I hate to break it to you, pal. If you can't fill up a fire hydrant, you can't be president. I don't want to hear anything about water levels or all this. It's very, again, I'm far from like a water expert. I'm not on some like water reclamation board. But isn't it, if you have a surplus of water, you don't have an issue with the water? The reservoir that was supposed to be full has been empty as of February last year, and no one even told the fire department. And the woman they promoted and pay $750,000 a year to handle that job didn't tell anybody. And the reservoir that is supposedly to be working was under maintenance. Under maintenance. California is, without a doubt, one of the great test projects, one of the great petri dishes of why politics matters. And I want all of you to remember this. If you're a pastor, if you are a person that says, I don't like politics, If you don't care about politics, politics will care about you. And politics can ruin a beautiful gift from the heavens like California. Objectively, one of the greatest places on the planet to live. And now it's not any longer. It's become a raging insult to all of our senses. It's like overwhelming. From the bums to the illegals to the cartel members to the inflation to the it's just you can't process it. And that shows that politics does matter. And staying on the ball does matter. And let California be the best example of that case.